Alrighty, we are back with, we're back.
You did not let me know.
I'm sorry, you're just kicking back here on this Friday. Garden Guy Charlie Stalker is here taking your calls, 270-827-7961, the number to call, and we are going to devote the show to spring. Because spring will come.
I've got to
Summer
say,
will be here.
I saw a very dear friend of mine last night at a banquet, and he's from Indianapolis. Haven't seen him for a number of years. And I just want to say hi to Howard Hubler and his wife, who are here in Evansville. Whether they've gotten up or not, I don't know, but I want to say hi.
Oh, well,
Howard Hubler!
Hey, Howard. A little shout out there. Yeah, we are devoting this to spring.
Okay.
Do we have any callers just yet?
No.
Okay, so start calling in, people.
Okay.
Let's think about spring.
You know, we don't have to worry about that because they always call, and I have
a
lot of things that you've already taken 15 to 20 seconds away from me on.
It's my favorite time of year, mole killer.
Mole killer, and we've been around long enough together that you know what I'm going to talk about. In fact, I could just give this to you, and you could probably say everything that we need to about moles. It's the mole that we're most concerned with around here is called an eastern mole. It's anywhere from 4 to 5 inches long, weighs about 5 ounces, very territorial. You'll only find about 2 per acre. But boy, can they do the damage to your lawn. We're going to talk about how you can control moles, some things you can do, but we have a caller first.
We do. Look at that. It's like you start talking, they say no. Elnora, hi there.
Good morning, Elnora.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, we have a couple of pecan.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple of pecan trees, and this year there's a lot of black spots on the pecans. Is there anything we can do to stop that?
A lot of black spots on the pecan. I'm out of my league. I do know that they need a lot of iron. I know that you can do it, believe it or not, and you can really increase the magnitude or the amount of production by putting in iron nails and tagging them into the tree. And that iron will be given off by the iron nails up into the tree. That helps production. The only thing I would think you could do would be to spray with a Volk oil spray, a dormant oil spray, which will probably be in about 2 weeks. That would most probably control the black spot, but I'm going to have to check with Larry Kaplan and see what he says, and I will tell you for sure next week.
Okay.
Elnora.
Okay. Well, Robert's on the phone from Evansville.
Morning, Bob.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm just fine.
Good.
My question is, I was told by someone that to get weeds out of irises, I could spray Roundup just directly on the iris leaves and the weeds and everything. Mm-hmm. My concern, it would kill the irises. Is that true, or will it be all right to do that?
Okay, here's a couple things. Iris have a they have a cutaneous coverage on them, which kind of makes them, which protects the leaf, okay? Roundup will not work unless you have 50-degree weather. So as we come into the spring and you have some weeds coming up around the iris, you can spray and probably not do any damage to the iris. You could also put a piece of cardboard next to the iris and spray around it, and it would not affect the iris itself because you're protecting it. But the later you go into the season, the more chance you have of damaging that iris. But initially, March, April, early May, I think you're okay. I really do.
Oh, okay. That's encouraging.
With Roundup.
Love those irises.
The reblooming or the regular?
I love all of them. I love all of them. John from Livermore is on the phone.
Morning, John.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Turn your TV down.
I've got it on mute, but hold on a minute.
Okay. Well, if you got it turned on mute, you don't need to turn it down.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, I've got 2 crepe myrtles in my front yard.
All right.
They're about 10 to 12 foot tall.
Okay.
and one of them lost all of its bark this winter. I mean, just peeled itself, and it's red looking.
Uh-huh.
Is it dead or what?
Well, I think you're misinterpreting it. I think it's just going through an aging process, and it's just sloughing off the bark. If you scratch the bark and you see green under what you think the bark is gone, if you see green there, you're in good shape. And I really don't think, I think it's just an aging process, and there's nothing wrong with your crepe myrtle at all. And the way you tell is to scratch the bark. If it's green underneath that bark, you're okay.
Okay, good advice. We're taking calls, and we are taking your phone calls, 270-827-7961, the number to call. Do we have, okay, no. Sean from Chandler. Thanks, Aaron.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. I have a pear tree out back that I really don't know anything about. I just do know that since the limbs are going in every direction and they're really long, so long that some of the top is starting to break out.
Okay.
It produces a really big, juicy fruit every year. I'm just really wanting to keep it healthy and don't know when to trim it back or exactly how.
Okay. Okay. You generally want to trim, with the way the season has gone this year, you generally want to trim your pears back probably in another 2 weeks. Now, since you haven't pruned that pear for a long period of time, or you've just inherited it or whatever, you want to do some drastic pruning for the future. You're going to limit the pears this year, but you're doing it for the right reason. And the whole concept is an open vase. When I say an open vase, you want to allow the branches on the outer extremities to develop, and you want to take off the material on the inside as much as possible for air and sunlight. You will increase your production as a result of that. The open vase theory for pruning, and it's good for pear trees.
Okay. I love pears.
You're not listening to a single thing, not that it makes any difference. Go ahead.
I'm not.
Go ahead.
I love pear trees, and
you love iris, and you love pear trees. That is great.
Here's what I love: anything that will bloom in the springtime, flowers, trees.
And we're waiting for that.
Yeah. Okay, our next caller, Marla's on the phone.
Good morning, Marla.
Morning.
Good morning. What's your question?
My question. Good morning.
She's listening
My
to the
question: we have 2 crepe myrtle.
Go ahead. Turn your
two-
TV down, Marla. Turn your TV down, and then you won't be interrupted with your. After you make a statement, you think about it. Then.
Okay.
I've done it too. Don't worry about it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We have 2 crepe myrtle trees. They're probably 2 years old, and they're up, but we don't know whether to trim them.
Okay. Okay. How tall are they?
How tall are they? Probably 5 feet tall.
Okay, 5 feet. Okay, so they're not, if they're 2 years old and they're 5 foot tall, they're not a miniature. That makes a little bit of a difference. Here's the rule of thumb for all of your crepe myrtles. Now listen to it, take it to the bank, because it's fact, okay? If your crepe myrtles bloom in the summertime, which they do, you want to trim them to whatever height you want in November, December, January, or February, okay, before they put out their new growth, and you'll never lose a bloom. So you could November, December, January, February, and even into March this year, you got no problem. Trim it back as far as you want, and you'll still get your blooms for the springtime.
Kind of cold to be doing that, but
Yeah, wait maybe a couple weeks.
Okay, Richard from Boonville.
How come you're hearing you've got something different than I do?
Oh, you do?
Because I'm not hearing that anybody's calling.
Oh, well.
Richard.
Yes.
Good morning.
I got it covered.
I've got some couple questions.
All right.
In planting, like raspberries in a stem, wood type.
Uh-huh.
How about the root starter. Is that
If
important, or
it is very good. If you have bare root raspberries, bare root grapes, bare root roses, whatever, soak them in some Miracle-Gro, some root hormone stimulant overnight. Just soak the roots and everything overnight. That really stimulates the plants, gives them some things and it hydrates them as well. It puts some water in them, then you plant them. It really makes a big difference.
Okay, we do have to go to morning headlines right now, but we're going to come back because I want you to finish explaining
the molds.
And then soil compaction.
Okay.
We are back with garden guy Charlie Stalker, and you started talking about the mole killer, mole traps.
We
a lot
sure
of people
did.
had some problems. You say they're very territorial. You're only going to find about 1 or 2 per 2 acres or something.
Very good. They're very territorial. You're very right. What people don't realize is 85% of the earthworm, 85% of the moles, their diet is earthworms. So if you do the poison peanuts, if you do the vibrating things in the ground, all really has no effect on them. What we found to be probably the most effective are the plastic worms. And they look like, you know, those fishing worms that you put a hook in and you cast out and they do all the gyrations. Same thing, but it is laced with something that actually kills the earthworms. Now, what you want to do is you want to put this in an active run. How do you know if it's an active run? Where you see what you think is an active run, simply take a dowel rod or any kind of, just open a hole up, just kind of poke a hole in there, come back in 24 hours, and if it's repaired, you know that there is an active run there. So then you open it up, use some gloves, open it up, and put one of these plastic worms in there. They will ingest it, and obviously it will kill them, but that's the way to get rid of them. And why we're talking about that now is because they have 2 different runs. They've got the one that's on the level where they get all of their earthworms, and the deeper one is about 36 inches where they have their clutch of babies. And they'll have as many as 4 to 5, and guess what? They're just about ready to do that if they haven't started already. So then your task becomes even more formidable. So think about the plastic worms. It's a very good way of controlling those moles that are coming on the scene.
Okay,
All
good
right.
advice.
Now, soil compaction. If you were to say, why am I not getting production from my vegetable garden? Why am I having problems with these perennials blooming? And generally, everything, so I guess what I'm saying here is, if you don't hear me say anything else the rest of the year, hear what I'm just about ready to say, because compaction, where the soil compacts down to where the water simply runs off, to compaction to where the roots don't have an exchange. Am I forceful enough?
Yeah.
The roots don't have an exchange of air and carbon dioxide, oxygen, carbon dioxide, with the environment. That creates over 80% of the problems we have in growing plants. Now, what can you do? Well, one simple thing is take your potato fork or your pitchfork or even shovel and turn the ground over. And by turning it over, it loosens it up. That's one thing. Mother Nature does a great thing by freezing and thawing. Think about it. The freezing and thawing breaks open the soil. As the water freezes, it makes it looser, and the freezing and thawing actually is a way Mother Nature takes away compaction. Some things you can do besides the shoveling is to put in organic compost. And we've talked about this so much. The more organic compost, the more living material you have in your soil, and the less compaction, and the better the plants are going to receive the area where they've been planted. So a lot of organic compost, turning it over. If you have an area that you've used in a vegetable garden for a long period of time, try and create an area where you walk the same area the same way all the time, because your feet actually create compaction as well. So just be aware that compaction can really be a problem with your plants, and there's some ways to correct it.
So make a path and maybe follow it so you're not zigzagging through.
Yeah.
That's probably what was the problem with my garden when I was a 4-H'er, but that's what it was.
Oh.
All right, good advice, Charlie. Thanks for being here. We're going to